If you're on Twitch or YouTube, the restream bot there is just to tell you what the chat is going on the other channel. Feel free to mute them if they're getting in the way.
Coming in South
Can we get a close-up of the suspension if you've got time before the next go? You can't uncouple the train, can you? As far as I remember?
No, you can't uncouple the train.
You getting any sound delay on your end? I'm just wondering, someone's saying that some of the sounds like that sound like they're delayed, and I'm just checking that it's not the stream causing that rather than the game.
There's no sounds coming delayed. They all seem to be about right from where I'm sitting.
No, the cursor will not be pink. That is Matt's bespoke cursor because he runs about 8,000 different monitors and is forever losing his cursor. So no, that's Matt's personalised setup.
If you want a giant pink cursor, Windows can help you.
Is it possible to turn off the motion blur on the wheels?
This is something I needed to. That's on my list to double check. There are on the PC. Definitely, we have a setting for. I say definitely motion blur. What I don't know is if that setting has made it onto console. I need to double check that.
And this is an Unreal thing where rotational motion blur it's not so hot at.
It doesn't do rotation motion blur at all. It only does linear motion blur. It does linear motion blur exceptionally well, and it makes a big difference to the sensation of speed, but it does wheels really badly. It is something the team is trying to do some R&D on to try and find a good solution for.
Is it possible to play as a passenger?
Yes, you can spawn on foot anywhere you like on the route, any of the stations or the depots, get on board a train, sit on a seat and let the AI whisk you anywhere you want to go. Coming into Kentland now.
Yes, Win 10 Bakerloo line is one of the 3 routes that is included with Train Sim World 2 at launch. The others being Köln-Aachen with the ICE 3M and the Talent 2, and the last one being Sandpatch Grade. For those of you who like their trains heavy, American and long. Yeah, sorry, long. Best word I could come up with there on short notice. For those of you with general questions, we've got a general Q&A stream tomorrow. So you might want to save them for them, because we're not going to answer them now. I'm just saving your fingers from the typing there.
Right, final station coming up into Harrow&W'stone platform 1. What happens with trains is when they get to the end of the road here, they'll rather than just changing ends in the platform, they pull forward into a siding called a turnaround siding, which then lets the next train come into Harrow&W'stone if there is one. The driver will then change ends and then drive the train into bring it back into Harrow&W'stone into platform 2 to begin the southbound journey. So what we'll do is when we get into the turnaround siding, I'll walk through the trains so that you can see the interior of the Bakerloo line train.
You're being corrected. It's turn back, not turn around.
Turn back.
Come on, Matt, get the terminology right. The livery editor is not going to be showed today. It will be showed off tomorrow, though.
Wipers on. Alright, this is Harrow&W'stone.
So we have noticed that we're not ignoring the fact that some of the passengers have been behaving in an incredibly erratic fashion. And as mentioned before, this is not a final build that we've got going on here. It's a production build, which means it's not saddled with all of the usual dev back-end bits and pieces, but it is not the build that we'll be putting out for you next week.
Lock the doors.
And I suspect quite strongly that that Matt's going to go and, well, I mean, you know, deal rudely with some artificial passengers.
So we've got the white lights telling us we're clear into the turn it back siding. Which is literally just here.
Do you want to give the horn a quick go again? Sorry, whistle. Now, thinking of it as a really big upgrade update where you get 2 lines for the price of 1. It's not a bad way of looking at it. For those of you who want to take a more cynical line. But you've got a fair few points there, flipping it.
Yep, we've got lots of points. Gold medal.
We covered third rail sparking in the last Q&A. So at the moment it doesn't, but all of the underlying tech is in place to allow that to happen. But it hasn't happened, and I don't want to use the word yet, but I will do, because it is likely to be added after release. Again, this is me being non-specific, and that's, you might want to put some brakes on there, Gov. Just, you know, just a thought. That's what I usually do.
I forgot to put it in shutdown. Now it might let me actually take aspects off. Now it let me do that. Let's put the window back up. Relock that. Tab light off. And walk down the train. So all the windows are operable and the doors are operable as well.
Someone needs to tell these people to get off.
Yeah, they didn't get the memo.
I don't know where they're expecting to go, but they're not going to get there.
So this train's interesting because it's not just a 7-car train, it's actually a 4+3. So there's a fake cab, there's a former cab here, it's not an operational cab anymore.
And is that true to life?
That's true to life, yeah. They're a 4+3 formation. So that's how it's been modelled here.
Be interesting. The passengers hate some of these cars.
I know. Get out of my trunk. Right. Like that. Moving forward.
David, when you say please rework passengers, we know. And it is on... It's one item on a very long list. So we've got nothing to announce as far as passengers are concerned, but we know, and it is on a very long list.
So with the signal clearing us into Harrow&W'stone, you can see the next train, because we're running late. Sorry, I'm running late. The one behind us is sitting there tapping the desk, wondering when I'm going to get myself in gear.
So this is actually quite a good demonstration of how timetabling works, right? Because as you mentioned before, normally if you're running a lot of services, to make them work, you will disappear trains when they reach their destination.
Yeah, which you can't do on this route.
So once a train is on the route, it is staying on the route.
Yep. Every route starts in all of the trains that you see in service start in life somewhere on the route. All of those, I think, a bunch of trains start Queen's Park South Sheds. There's a couple in North Sheds. There's a couple in London Road sidings. 1 or 2 in Stonebridge. So they start from. It means that you also, even though there's only 9 trains out of the 30 some odd they're supposed to run, you do get you're still able to start and stop trains at all the various places that trains start and stop. So it is a subset of the service rather than just bits missing. So anyway, someone wanted to know about going back the other way. We could just now carry on and go the other way, and when you get to Elephant, turn around and come back the other way and just sit there doing this all day, which I quite enjoy doing. But shall we do some rain?
Let's do some rain.
So again, we start in this side of the shed here.
So what are we looking for here? I mean, you say variable adhesion. Now, to a clown like me that doesn't really know what you're driving at there, what are we looking for? What's the telltale that adhesion is
most
not
trains
what it should be?
Show the speedometer based on reading the speed of the wheel. Yeah. So if you suddenly slip because you're doing too much power, your speedometer go crazy. Like it says you're going a lot faster than you really are. Look. Actually, so you see the speedometer here, it's reading incorrectly. Plus you also saw the arrows that appeared here that said I was wheel spinning at the time. So, yeah. But we're only going short speed, so a low speed limit here. So let's get through this station.
Yeah, this is more like London.
I'll turn the motion blur off because it makes it easier to see what's going on with the wheels. Right, so what we'll do is we'll just gun it out of this station. And if you watch for...
What, you mean driving it properly?
Yeah, driving it properly for dry weather. And if you watch this, you'll see the... I'm waving my hands around. There's these red chevrons that appear, which tell you that you have not 100% grip. So I've got green light. So if I just put it in maximum power... and it managed to get the grip again. So what happens with this train is that when it loses grip, it will cut the power to the motors and then reapply them again. So which means that by virtue of that, you will eventually pick up speed. And as you can see here, we've managed to recover it. So that's less of a problem because of the cutout. So it's got wheel slip protection in terms of acceleration. What it doesn't have anything of is slide protection. So something like the ICE, for example, has slide protection in that when you apply the brakes, it's actually monitoring each axle individually, and it will release the brakes on each individual axle so as to keep them from being from losing grip if it senses that they're running at a different speed to the average of the rest of the axles, essentially.
So if you were to hammer the brake on now, would we slide or would we actually stop properly?
That wasn't too bad, actually. We lost grip briefly there.
So how does this actually going to change the way that you play in the case of, you know, if I'm playing this normally, and how's this going to affect how I play? Is it just basically going to make me play more sensibly, accelerate slower?
Essentially, I mean, because of the wheel slip protection coming out when you're starting off, you can probably be a little bit cavalier as you accelerate. Because the wheel slip protection will help you, but you may want to gradually increase your throttles rather than just wrapping it up to 3 like you would in the daytime. When you're slowing down for a stop, however, you almost certainly will want to will come in, instead of coming in on, say, a notch 3 brake, you'll want to maybe come in on a notch 2 brake. So if I cut the power now and drop it into a notch 3, wait, that's not losing grip. That's surprising.
And the weight of the train is modelled as well as the additional passengers on board.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so as you press escape, you can see the weight of the train, and if after you've done unloading at a passenger, you'll see this weight is up or down. That number's not faked. It is the measurement used for all the physics as well.
The train sim guy asks, so if you're in a tunnel, does the adhesion rate change even if the weather is rubbish outside?
It's a mixture. So because you do still get some ill effects, but
it's different to outside.
It's different. The same actually under if you got like a motor, you go under a motorway or under a bridge or something in a viaduct. Like a fly under, like at the one that was just further down the line here, you'll see that those have got different adhesion as well. The same as you don't see them get snowy in snowy weather on other routes.
Okay, well, people are quite keen to see a little bit of exploration on foot.
Okay, so we're going to look at a depot.
So earlier on today, you recorded for me a section of Cockpit look around Cockpit of cab. That's what they call them. Yeah, that's the thing. A bit of glancing around the cab. Now, what are we looking at here? This is going to loop, so take your time and detail everything.
What I just operated there was there's a safety system on the underground train, on this train, where you can't lower the window and still take power in the train unless you isolate there's a cut-off there. If you bring the window down, you will not be able to take power in the train. If you flick that cutout switch, as I did, then you can then take power in the train. So there was the other thing was over in the top left corner there was a rate switch. So if you're in bad weather, you can switch it to rate 2 or rate 1 so that the train takes more time to take on power.
Before you continue, I saw a comment that says, I can see the scenery flickering. Now, presumably, this isn't a final that we've got going on here. As you can probably see in the top corner, the lighting still needs baking on quite a lot of things for this particular video.
Yeah, this is my dev build running locally, literally in the editor, so that I could record some of the stuff and give you some of the latest stuff that was from there. So yeah, this is not production build at all.
Okay, fine. Sorry, carry on with your tour. I just wanted to make sure people didn't think that this was, what they were going to be tinkering with.
So looking down there again, you've got the drop light interlock, which is again the same thing I'm using on that I just mentioned over there. There's a number of different buttons and switches. You've got door interlocks.
And another train arriving over there. We're just at Queen's Park at the moment. So in the video, this is the destination board, the roller blind for the destination board, so you can choose that where you want it to be. And then that will just reflect what happens on the outside. There is also in the bottom right, you can't quite see it at the moment, there's a 3-digit display. Those you can't set those. The service mode will set those, or the scenario will set those for you.
Right. So that's designed by the route that you're running. The path.
It's the train number.
The path that you're running.
It's the train number. So train number 207 will do numerous things during the day, but it will always show up as train 207. Yeah, you can follow that. So just trying to see, what am I looking at?
Have you lost yourself there, Matt?
This is it. We're back at the beginning again. So just another quick round there. So you've got the control switch there, which is you put the key in and turn it on. That turns the train on. Then you've got your door switches. This is the drop light interlock for the window. So now I can safely open the window. Or unsafely open the window, actually. That's the cab light switch. People like buttons and switches that don't do anything. So
I do. Love it.
Heater in.
More the merrier.
It adds to the role-playing elements. So there's this is the rate switch that you use to change how the train, the sort of the performance physics of the train. There's then various resets. This is the audible warning valve, the one I was just on there. It's just a little button on the lower of the 3 black buttons. The one right at the bottom there is the wipers. You can see you've not got much in the way of gauges and dials either. There's the brake gauge, and you've got the which is for the air brakes, and you've got the speedometer, and that's it. So it's not a lot to play with. This is your lights, cab lights, and so on and so forth. The 4 big switches in the middle control passenger interior lighting and so forth. The brake test over here, if I could have remembered how you did it, I would have done it in the video, but that works. You can do the brake test properly as well. Then you've got, so if you want to reverse the train, this is interesting. If you want to reverse the train, you have to use this reverser interlock, it's reverser cutout. So by default, if you just put the train in reverse and apply power, it will not go anywhere. So you need to, before you put it in reverse, apply the reverse cutout, then put it in reverse, and then it will let you back the train up. Because basically, reversing an underground train is a bad idea for many, many reasons. So don't do it. So they put that reverser interlock. Now, you and I probably want to have our own reasons why we think it's a good idea to do it at a time. So the interlock, the cutout, which is completely realistic, is there to allow you to do that.
So, and that's realistic, right?
Yep, it is.
Okay. All right. Good. Right. All right. I'll leave this to do one more lap, and we'll move on to the next one. Just purely because it makes a change from looking at us with scrolling screenshots behind us. So you're not going to see anything fresh in there, but completely enjoy the repeat experience. Well, I do have to. Where am I up to? Right now, in the video today that came out in the trailer, we saw mirrors at the end of the platform that appeared to be working. Is this some kind of jiggery-pokery that we've done to make it look like the mirrors are working and they're not, or are the mirrors genuinely working?
It's a half and half answer to that. The kind of are working and the kind of not. It uses a technique in Unreal called screen space reflections, which costs basically nothing from your performance of your machine, but it gives you most of the benefit of it. So it's called, it's 80% of the benefit with basically no cost at all in terms of frame rate. So you get a mirror which you can walk up to and it will look that. But I think if a train is in there, then unless you happen to be looking at it the right way, then you won't necessarily see the train in the reflection. Although if you look at it in the right way, it will show up. Because of how screen space reflections work, it's difficult to explain. But they are faked, but they are less faked than you might think. And it's done that way to make it look good, but not hurt your performance. Actual mirrors would hurt your performance.
So it's not faked in the video, that's how it looks in the game, right?
Oh, that's how it looks in the game, totally, yeah.
So it's not a true reflection, but it is sort of.
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, that's a non-technical way of describing it. People seem to think that we're now just pushing the same buttons repeatedly, haven't latched on to the fact that it's a looping video. So I'm going to bring us back on the screen. The pop-up menu for opening and closing of doors on PC, that is remaining this time round.
Yeah.
again, being able to rebind that to direct keys, it's on the big long list of things we want to do, but it's not included at the moment.
See the shard in the distance here. This is London Road Depot, so on the map we're here. So this is Elephant and Castle, and trains will basically come out here, and their first passenger stop will be Waterloo, and then they'll make their way up north before they then come back down to Elephant and Castle.
Is there any penalty for touching the third rail?
Nope. Nope. You don't even interact with the third rail. It's got no collision on it whatsoever, so. There is no, you're not going to have any kind of penalty for that. That's
and
not
for those who weren't around at the start, the tearing that you're seeing there is as a result of Matt's PC, rather than the game.
Yeah, it's just started doing it.
That was pretty severe.
That's really annoying. So I apologise for that.
Had someone earlier on asking whether you could walk up tunnels, and we know you can't.
No, you can't. There's a barrier that blocks you from going into the tunnels.
Yeah. And is it possible to reach ticket halls in some of the stations?
Yes, we can do that. When we get to Queen's Park, I'll show you the ticket hall there. So yes, certainly some of the stations where it's in the primary goal with the walking areas is to allow you to cross between platforms. But if there's a ticket hall that's part of the way you do that, then the ticket hall is modelled.
Okay. So
that's London Road. As you can see, it's quite a well-known scene. If I actually, what I'm going to do is
people would like to see Paddington.
Paddington, you can't go to Paddington Overground Station. If that's what people were excited to see, just saying.
Well, they've asked to see it. Whether you can go to the overground or not, it's neither here nor there.
It doesn't matter what time of day it is. It's underground.
Is there any noise of so let's say I'm here and there are trains inbound. How long have we got to wait till the next train?
2 minutes. Queen's Park train.
And we trust that number, don't we?
There or thereabouts.
What do you mean there or thereabouts? It either is or it isn't correct.
Well, it depends how the driver is.
But you've literally just spawned in, so it should be 2 minutes away, right?
It should be about 2 minutes. So.
It's about 2 minutes. That makes them about as reliable as the real thing.
Exactly. Some of the unique artwork that's present on some of the stations.
We had a question about the sound of an approaching train. So if we wait out the 2 minutes until this train approaches, we'll be able to hear approaching train sounds.
Yep.
We just need to fill the time with really interesting and informative commentary. Off you go.
Lots of really cool. One of the sort of the iconic things on the underground is all of the billboards and the advertising hoardings that are up there. So we've got some real ones which we've got licensed, and we've got a bunch of fictional ones that the art team had great fun creating.
Now tell me that I can buy some ad space in there to advertise a certain lesser known YouTube channel.
That's a discussion you need to have with somebody else. But it's a cool idea. I like that idea. 1 minute.
If you trot up the other end so that we're near the which way is the train coming in from? Is it coming right to left? Yeah, it is coming right to left.
Queen's Park, it'll be coming in. There is the train there. So it's coming in that way. We're facing south at the minute, it's going north.
Okay. Pete, you'll have to imagine the air rush. I think on the list of things that we'd love to have in the game, the air rush is certainly on the list, but it's going to be pretty low down the bottom. Oh, I see the sound of the air rush. Yes, there are collectibles in TSW2. We did one earlier on in the stream.
Speaking of,
There we go. Okay.
so this one, the only way you can walk, because the two platforms are so close together like this, you can just walk between the platforms. So you wouldn't be able to walk up the escalator.
We can't go up the escalator.
No, you can't go up the escalator.
Which station has the most exploration options in it?
I don't know. The overground ones tend to have a bit more because there's more going on. Baker Street is probably interesting to look at.
You realise you cut us off there just as the train was leaving. That would have been nice.
Yeah, true. Apologies. Where's Baker Street?
For those asking about Sandpatch Grade gameplay, we don't have a day set yet, but I think Monday is probably a fair bet. We'll definitely show it off before the game comes out. Monday's a guess on my part, so you're going to have to wait and see. But that would be my estimate. The roadmap we are discussing on Tuesday, because the roadmap will be updated on Tuesday, so it made sense to cover it on Tuesday. Nice.
So yeah, this one's got a few more corridors you can walk along to allow you to access other parts of the platform. But it's still fundamentally allowing you, so you can cross the other platform over there, or you can walk down this corridor, which gets you further down, and you can go down that lift, go down that one as well. There's collectibles everywhere.
Yeah, spoilers much. You know, there is some exploration to be done in order to find all the collectibles. You're just giving it away.
I know, I'm giving it away.
Are the cameras operational, or are they
No.
A bit of scenery?
They're a bit of scenery, I would say. Am I allowed to say they're a collectible?
Does the shoe actually slide on the third rail? I assume not, given it doesn't have collision.
Does the shoe slide? So it's yeah. The artists have modelled it to be at the same place as the third rail, so it looks like it's sliding along it. But there's not a collision model. That would just be a waste of CPU. Trying to make it do that all the time. Should we have a look at Stonebridge Park?
Why not? And then you need to get on a train, and then I think we'll call it a day for today.
Well, if we go Stonebridge Park and then Queen's Park, and then we get on the train at Queen's Park.
I like your thinking.
Stonebridge Park Depot.
For those of you, several of you are asking questions that actually we covered earlier in this stream. So the video will be available to watch after we're done. If you back up a bit, you'll be able to watch it after we're finished here. Livery editor we're covering tomorrow.
So yeah, some of the trains, the trains that terminate at Stonebridge Park will come up to these sidings and then go back there. So that's this siding up here, and then they'll head back out to there. So some trains go to Stonebridge Park, some go to Queen's Park, and when they go to Queen's Park, they'll turn around in one of these two sidings, and then some go all the way up to Harrow, as we did earlier on. But then you've got, this is the depot here.
What's the middle rail between the two rails there?
So this is what Underground uses, fourth rail. You've got the power and the collection and the, I can't remember what the name for it is now, the collection rail. So third rail uses the way it is you get the power. So this is the hot rail where all the power is, and what they use for third rail stuff, like on like the East Coastway, for example, is they use this as the return line, so that when you connect a battery, you've got plus and minus, you've got your plus and your positive and your common. So this is your positive, this is your common. Well, what they found was that on the underground railways, the problem with that was that having the electricity running through this rail was actually causing all sorts of problems with all the materials in the tunnels, and so they added the fourth rail to act as the return line. So effectively, that's your battery positive and that's your battery negative. I think I've got that about right. And then these rails, they're just literally to guide the wheels. So that's you can walk into the depots, obviously. So you've got the trains here, and then down here, this is then the other half of Stonebridge Depot, where you've got the other set of storage. We've already walked a mile. Look at that. So then there's a bunch more trains being stashed over here. So that's Stonebridge Park. This is where... So London Road Depot used to be the main depot for the line. These days it's declassified and it's just considered sidings. They're just storage sidings. And Stonebridge is actually the main depot for the line now. So let me jump over to Queen's Park.
So even if the trains are in the depot, you still can't use the front door?
No, you have to, if you click on one of the passenger doors, they'll open.
Okay. And is that a design decision, or is that a rule that we have to follow?
No, it's a design decision that because of technical limitations and the overriding design not to allow you to walk in the tunnels where it would be fruitless. So this is the ticket area someone was asking about. So
this is more to prevent enterprising persons such as myself being able to fling themselves out the front of the train?
Basically, yes, yeah.
You're basically the fun police.
I am the fun police. Let me go over the other side. It's slightly better view over here. So this is Queen's Park Station, and this is probably the busiest station on the line because every train that runs on the line will run here. Regardless of where they're stopping, they will all stop here or continue on. So you tend to get quite a lot of traffic. So you can see here we've got a train coming in 3 minutes. Then we've got one coming south. So it's actually the one in the shed there will leave in a couple of minutes and pull into the platform. And then you've got the one coming northbound Harrow&W'stone shortly after that, and then another one coming down from Harrow&W'stone about a minute after that. So in a couple of minutes there'll be a bit of a flurry of trains, and that's the way that the timetable ebbs and flows. You'll get moments where there's a larger gap, bearing in mind there's a reduced number of services on here, but you've got moments where you've got larger gaps between services and some points where it's a bit more busy and you'll see trains barreling in one after the other.
Okay. So can we get to the ticket office here?
That was where we started.
Oh, was it? I wasn't paying attention. I was reading the important and vital messages that we're receiving. There we go. 1 times ticket office. Okay, smashing. And someone's asked if we could manually open the passenger doors.
You can manually open the passenger doors by clicking on them, yes. Although the AI will always auto-open them anyway. But if you're driving the train, there's nothing to stop you pulling up, walking out, and then clicking on door to open it. Or similarly, if it's starting in a depot, then you can just walk up to the train and you can climb up to it. That train from the side shed is now pulling forward.
And what we're seeing on the passenger information screen there is accurate because it's following the timetable.
Yes. Yeah, it's so same as the instructions that you're given in the when you're told you need to be here by a certain time. The passenger information system has access to that same information.
How long have we got to wait? I mean, it's all well and good their train having turned up.
1 minute for us.
Lies. Don't believe it. There is a fighting chance you can hear fans from both me and Matt this evening. It is rather warm, so you have the option of us either passing out or with some slight fan noise going on in the background. Apologies for that.
Yes. Right, it should kick up. Trains approaching here any minute now. So these ones that say terminates here, they're ones that are going into the north sheds there. There comes the train.
With the dead man's handle, if I get the unit moving and then get up from my seat to go and traipse around the carriage as I quite enjoyed doing, we'll try and stop.
Yes. You'll see as soon as you stand up, the dead man's handle pops on. Somewhere to sit, that's what I want.
No, you don't. You want to stand up, like a pro.
Like a pro, right, and just stand up.
And you would know full well that the other end of the far end of the carriage is the best place to go, with the single door, where you can lean up against the glass, because then in the summer you can open a window. Driver hasn't turned the lights on.
That's just rude. Oh no, we were in a section where it was, it had no power, I guess. There's a bunch of junctions here, so the power will flicker on and off.
Are you inferring that that's realistic?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if there's dead sections, the gaps in the third rail.
Okay.
Gaps in the third rail, you'll see.
No, it does do that.
There's the train coming back in from Harrow&W'stone the other way. Of course, if you do sit down, then you can use the external camera as well. There's that fake cab, or what used to be a cab and isn't anymore.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, that's going to wrap it up for our stream today. This is not the final preview stream that you will get for Train Sim World 2. We will be back tomorrow evening at the same time with a Q&A session. The questions are already submitted, but we'll probably take a few more from the chat if we get a chance to spot them. And then next week we will be showing off Sandpatch Grade. We'll be talking about the roadmap on Tuesday, and we'll probably do a bit of everything on Wednesday and then on launch day.
Yep,
that'll be exciting. So there you go. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Hope you have a splendid rest of the day. This stream will be available to watch on YouTube on the Train Simulator channel as soon as YouTube has finished digesting it, or whatever it is that YouTube likes to do to videos. Have yourselves a lovely rest of the day. So say goodbye, Matthew.
Goodbye, Matthew.
Very good. Yeah, you didn't miss the setup. And we'll catch up with you soon. Thanks for watching. Cheerio.
See you later. Bye-bye, folks.
Shall I show some? I'll bang on some video, shall I?
Some video.
I'm going to bang on the nicer one. We got one of these, and yeah, let's just deal with that. So this is a fully active 43 minutes for that. Oh, come on, man. So passenger information screens were not in the original spec for this game.
No,
they were the wrong side of the line, and frequently we have stuff that is just the wrong side of the what can be achieved line. And actually, when we pushed the game back an extra couple of weeks to help get preserved content in, preserved collection, I should say, it freed up a team who just kind of went, we're going to do passenger information screens.
Yep.
And there is
absolutely.
one. It's doing its thing. It's doing the scrolling business. I've got another one of these videos. You know. Well, you should know. You sent it to me.
Yeah. There is a train coming. I'm not quite sure why it hasn't got the minute counter on that one. So I'm going to flag that up to the team tomorrow. But essentially, just to back up, what this is showing is those timings are from the actual timetable. So if it's saying 42 minutes, that means that there is a train in 42 minutes according to the schedule. So that's actually, if you were standing on the platform, you would see a train around about that time. And then once it finishes, it would then cycle on and tell you when the next train is going.
So if I'm driving the train and I've accidentally triggered the emergency brake at the previous station, and therefore I've delayed not only my train but everybody else behind me, does this information screen update accordingly?
No, this information screen is based on the timetable. So if you're running late, then it will be out of sync with this.
So it's not dynamically driven.
No, it doesn't. It's not tracking where your train is in terms of its approach. It's looking at, according to the schedule, a train is due at X time. Therefore, that's what it's showing on there.
Right.
This is a system that we may improve and evolve as time goes on, but this was the best thing that we could get in the time we had.
I've seen a good comment there, actually. In fact, two of them. Why did no one get off? No one got off the train.
Dev build.
Hashtag dev build. Yeah. Okay. All right.
It's going to be my get out clause for anything.
It's going to be your get out clause for everything, right up until the point that we play it live on stream.
At that point, it's very different. But no, this is a dev build that was literally, it finished building about 3 minutes before I started recording the videos, which was about 20 minutes before we started the stream.
Yeah, I know. This was very, very last minute stuff. Let's flip over to the other one, because we've got another one here as well. Let's just make sure that's muted, because you were recording me at the same time then. So here's another one doing its business, and
so you can see on the right hand side there, it's got terminating here showing up. So these would be Elephant to Queen's Park, and then on the left hand side, this is a train coming in. It's due in 1 minute, and you can see it also lists out the stops, and again, that's all coming from the timetable dynamically as well, along with the other stuff. They're sort of the following on trains as well, and it just cycles showing different panels of information.
So the inevitable question has showed up. So if this is on the Bakerloo line, are we also going to get it at Cologne, for example? So are we now implementing passenger information screens on everything we've got previously?
At launch of the TSW2, this is not in the Cologne, it's only in the Bakerloo.
Right, but presumably now that we've done the tech, I mean, do we have to redo it every time that we have anywhere that might have information screens, or does that mean that it is actually pretty easy to implement in other places?
No, it's pretty actually. Now we've got the tech. I mean, it's almost boiled down to being an art problem now of creating the appropriate assets, the way they look, and then a little bit of setup to make them show the right screens and so forth. But the tech is now in, and our aim is to use it going forwards.
Okay, all right, good stuff. Right, have I missed anything? I don't think I have. I think we got through it all. Again. Hold on, if the video decides, there it is. Right, okay. It will come up in a moment. I put a little holding screen out the front in case it didn't work straight away. What is off the rails?
So off the rails allows you to do bonkers stuff, basically. In the normal mode, the trains that are offered are appropriate for the route that you're using. So you'll be offered German trains on German routes, American trains on American routes. But people want to do different things. There's a lot of people who want to run a different train on a different route and do something odd, including maybe running an AC 4400 on the Bakerloo line.
Matt, that looks stupid, and it's clipping through the wall.
I know it does look stupid. So, but that's the point. In off the rails mode, we don't take any of that. We take all of the restrictions away, so that you can create what's good for you. What do you want to enjoy? If this is not something that you enjoy, don't do it, and do something you do enjoy. But basically, if you're thinking, oh well, the train I want to run would run there in real life, but might not fit the way it's been. Don't worry about that stuff.
It's not going to fit, Matt.
That's not going to fit. This is going to be an epic disaster in a minute.
And
we should definitely not move this
and frankly, this isn't perhaps the best video to show off exactly what the game is capable of, is it?
No, it really isn't.
And we're about to break immersion quite significantly, aren't we?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is where you see the nasty underside of the game world. But it's really about saying that we're not going to stop you doing it just because it might not look great. We'll let you choose your experience.
I've had a good one from Tintin in the comments. Do you still get AP for doing this?
I actually don't know.
Oh, okay. Right, put that one on your find out the answer list. So, yeah, this looks utterly ridiculous. It is obviously not a realistic experience. It is obviously only for larking about with. But the way we see it is your game. You should be allowed to use it as you like. Hugh just asked, why spend so much time creating unrealistic stuff? How much time did it take to just allow stuff to run anywhere?
Not really any time at all, to be honest. It takes more time to limit it than to allow everything to run everywhere. So it's a case that, do we just leave in the option for people to do what they like? Or do we spend time taking it away? And actually, I think people want, players that I've spoken to actually want more freedom to just do what they want. And I think the number of people who will do what this video is doing is probably quite small. Probably everyone will have a go once.
They'll do it once and go, well, okay, that was slightly disappointing.
I've done it. It's but what it means is...
look, I prepared a joke. Mind the gap or the incredibly large American freight locomotive. Huh? All right, that sounded better in my head.
Hey there, whoever watched the whole video. This video actually took me a shit ton of time, so I would really appreciate a sub from you guys. I mean, I'm even making a great outro now for you guys. Well then, have fun with the outro. Bye.
Yep. In your face! Standing on top of the sign.